Michigan State University is facing a new wave of backlash tonight after a string of high-profile departures, including its president and now its athletic director. Some Spartan alumni say they've had enough and are demanding members of the Board of Trustees step down. News 10's Colin Jankowski has our report.
I'm Colin Jankowski at Michigan State. Key departures at the university are causing some tension among the Spartan community. After athletic director Jay Batt was hired by the University of Kentucky on Monday, some are pointing the blame at the university's Board of Trustees and calling on them to resign.
I love this university. I grew up a Spartan fan my whole life.
Spartan alum Victoria Bell says she wants the best for her alma mater.
You know, I think anybody and everybody that went to Michigan State knows how important the university is.
But after a month of turmoil and tension among university leadership and key departures like University President Kevin Guskowitz and Athletic Director Jay Batt, Bell feels change is necessary.
I don't think it's a want them to resign. I think it's a they need to resign at this point.
Bell started a change.org petition last month after President Guskowitz's departure, calling on trustees Rima Vassar, Dennis Deno, and Mike Balo to resign. Those are the three trustees who voted against the board's recent change to the Code of Ethics. The petition has thousands of signatures after Batt's departure this week, with commenters expressing their frustration with the board.
Let's really figure out what went on here.
Trustee Mike Balo tells me he hears the community's frustrations. He says he hopes to organize some way for the community to share their thoughts with the board in a public setting. In the meantime, he says to allow for some time to see how things play out.
So take a breath. We're going to figure this out.
I also reached out to Trustee Vassar and Trustee Deno, as well as a university spokesperson for comment, but I did not hear back. At Michigan State, I'm Colin Jankowski.
And right now, there is no timeline for filling those key leadership positions at Michigan State. Police